Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Chop Sports Daily coming to you live. Going live, coming to you live, all of the above here on a Monday from the Flipping Made Easy studio in Matawan, New Jersey. Another snowy, nasty, rainy Saturday. What the fuck? Like, what is the deal?
It's Monday.
It is Monday. I guess. I mean, you had your mishaps on Friday with the whole whatever you went through. But yeah, I'm having a little bit of a trip up. Ski, gonna throw that on there. But welcome everybody. I hope you guys are doing well. Hope your weekends went well. Our weekends were good, filled with a lot of excitement as far as our Super Bowl box pool is almost full. I believe there's like 6 or maybe 7 boxes left, if that. There is a hiccup with the Venmo because they're not used to having and carrying all this money. So we're waiting on our Venmo to get back into order, and then we'll get that going. But yes, a few boxes left. Hit us up right now, or at least after the show, to claim the remaining boxes. The post itself has its last updated
there's
photo.
6 left.
6 left. Okay. Well, it's Sturch, by the way, and it's Gooch, by the way, and it's of course, Dina Simpson producing the show. Ashmere Fit also in the building as she is working remote once again. So. Lots to get into, obviously. It was a crazy cool weekend for all parties involved. I mean, you did stuff. I did stuff. I'm just getting my voice back from Saturday night, and it's not even fully back yet. I feel like Saturday night kicked ass, as I thought it would. We had a Wrestle Pro event in Rahway, New Jersey. Had a lot of fun there on the call with Josh Chernoff of Fight TV. We got broadcasted on pay-per-view, a lot of buys. The crowd was astronomically big. The biggest crowd I've seen in the Rahway Rec Center in a very, very long time. And I thought that I was gonna ask you your opinion of not that we can make any decisions on based on what WrestlePro should do, but like we offered this pay-per-view. I mean, we offered this show on pay-per-view. It was a sunny, not sunny, icy. I keep hearing things. Is it my computer? Oh, no. It's Ashley. Okay, no, it's all good. It was whatchamacallit. What was I saying? Oh yeah,
sunny,
it was icy. It was icy out. Some people couldn't make the trip. I'm looking at Dina. Anyway, Dina said she was coming to the show. She did not show up to the show. She couldn't get out of her town. I guess
I'm a bad friend.
The ice was crappy. So I figured we offered it on pay-per-view. That means like nobody's going to show up, right? Was that a bad move on our part? Like,
well, you said it was the biggest crowd.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
So
like,
I guess
going in. Do you think that's like a bad move? Like, oh man, if I had the option to sit home and watch this instead of going out in the ice storm or whatever the hell happened in Jersey.
Well, no, I don't think it's a bad option or a bad move because there's a chance that it's going to fill up anyway, which it did. And then there's extra revenue on the pay-per-view end. So that's
everybody wins.
If you could go pay-per-view and make money doing it, that's the guarantee. You go with the guarantee.
Speaking of Fight TV, there's potential works with, our Chop Heads Combat Sports podcast doing a little video and being aired on Fight TV. So we'll talk about that as we get going. A new fitted. I know that doesn't matter to anybody but me, but 24 years running that I've bought a new Yankees fitted each and every year. Inflation is real. I paid $45 for a Yankee fitted. There's nothing to this fitted outside of it being the regular, normal, standard Yankees fit. Like if it was like super duper colored or patches everywhere, I can understand a price increase.
I think I've moved on past the fitted phase with the Yankee hats because I'm not spending $45 on a Yankee hat. I go through like 2 or 3 a year. So there's no
Well, that's what I'm saying. I go through at least one a year. The one I just got rid of, if that went through a softball season, that went through, I've been wearing that hat for a while and I just feel like it's been through the ringer. So I had to get a new one. But $45 is not a logical price to pay for a fitted hat. Also tried something new last night, Gooch. Something maybe you can attest to. I tried CBD gummies for the first time.
I like the THC gummies.
What is that now? Am I behind the ball again?
They're the ones that actually get you high.
Oh, yeah. See, I wasn't about the high thing, but I was told sources have said that my snoring shook the house, meaning I was dead asleep in like 20 minutes. And I was trying to watch this documentary, which, by the way, was very interesting. And I was finally filled in this morning on the conclusion of it. I can definitely go watch it again if I want to.
What was it?
Tinder something on Netflix?
Tinderman?
No, Tinder Swindle or something.
Tinder Swindle.
Boy, that was like Firefest all over again, where this guy like boosted himself up as this entrepreneur millionaire and he's swooing all these women and stuff to go, like meet up with him and pay him money. But he's like, oh, but I'm a trillionaire. But, oh, if you could just wire me this would be great. Like 20 broads at the same time. I said broads for no reason whatsoever.
We're done.
20 girls at the same time. I feel like Jimmy Palumbo on that one. Remember that time? I think it was like episode 2. He's like broads, and he's like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have said that. But anyway, yeah. So that by the way, amazing. I'll probably finish it just to see the end. I now know the end. Spoiler alert. But the CBD gummies, exponentially good. They come from the feelgoodfactory.com. Those guys were at WrestlePro along with I had to say Dude's Gourmet, which by the way, I'm not a seasoning guy, like, because I don't necessarily eat like meats or anything like that, but like they gave me a bunch of seasonings and rubs and stuff like that, similar to like a Sunflower Meadow seasoning, who was our friends once upon a time. But this stuff is for like meal prep and all this stuff. And then they gave me like this yogurt, this Greek yogurt. All of this stuff is like sodium free, all this other stuff.
You eat Greek yogurt?
I do. That stuff, it's a little, the texture's a little for me. Like I can't really get into
Miss
it. But
me with the Greek yogurt. If it's like one of the children's squeezable yo plates,
the Go-Gurts,
I'll eat
the
that.
Go-Gurts.
I'll eat a Go-Gurt.
I was
I'll eat
a
box of
Go-Gurt
Go-Gurts,
guy.
but I'm not eating a Greek.
I was absolutely
a box of glue.
I was
Not
absolutely
happening.
a Go-Gurt guy. But those guys, they're targeting the athletes that are on the go a lot, meaning like pro wrestlers, MMA fighters, guys like that, where they
So
can't
it's Greek.
necessarily.
It's Greek Go-Gurt.
It's Greek yogurt, yeah, but it's really good shit. Like it's really, really good shit. And again, I consumed it on Sunday morning after a late night, and it was really, really good stuff. But they're also going to call us later about potentially sponsoring the Chopheads MMA podcast. Chopheads, I'm sorry, Combat Sports podcast, which we'll get into because
when we refer to it, just say the Chop Heads Pod. Much easier.
yeah, I think
right?
it is easier.
Just
I mean,
say
people
Chop-
know
the
what
Chop
it
Heads
is.
Pod.
In fact, you know what's funny? You know how, like, do you ever get to talk to somebody that's like you didn't think listened to the podcast, but they like, hey man, I listened to your podcast. Like
yeah, that happens from time. Bro, I happened upon our flyers at a random location for the first time. So whoever's on our street team, shout out. I think I know who it is, but I don't want to.
Isn't it always?
It's not always, and it is probably Joey D. You know, because
he's like an assault. He's like
he's that
assassin.
guy where he's like, bro, I replenish them. He's like, it's not only that they're there. He's like, I keep having to put more, so people are taking them. So we have to get on top of that.
All right,
That's
cool.
A little more marketing, but
Definitely.
good shit, Joey D. I know he's a listener.
Yeah, man. So between that and I was saying, what was I was alluding to something about being
Greek yogurt.
No,
No,
it was
he got to the chop pod.
Oh, the chop pod. Oh, the whole, like, you know, somebody not
Those CBD gummies are
right. They're
really working. Huh?
lingering effects. No, but that's funny because I walked out of the house twice today forgetting something, had to go back into the house, and I was like, man, like the sleep was great, but am I screwing this Monday up, or is it just because it's the Mondays, you know, and somebody has a case of the moon days? Rob, you're the man. You tell everybody to watch us. We really appreciate that as well. Good morning to the chat, by the way. Kyle's in there, Mark's in there, cousin Vinny in the building, Rob's in there.
You don't mention Scoop.
I didn't see Scoop.
He was first.
Oh, Scoop! Oh, Scoop was first. Ash, you feeling that? I don't know. She's giving us she's shooting us a look over here,
No,
saying, "Hold on."
She'll never be first again because she was like, "Where's my free merch?" And it's like, "Yo, send your address over."
I'll talk to the upper management in Chop Sports, see if we can figure something out. Maybe get you a gift card or something like that because you don't have enough shit. So anyway, I did want to touch on the UFC real quick because Dina, you placed your bets. Dina is the UFC extraordinaire over at the Sauce Network, but she's putting free picks out. How'd you do over the weekend?
I did all right. It wasn't my best weekend, but it wasn't my worst.
You did hit on a big one in the beginning, right?
I did. My straight picks went 7-5. The first one was a
Plus
plus
money.
245 underdog.
Units.
Yes, units. Props went 1-2. My VIP props went 1-1. So it was solid.
Okay, solid. Can't be perfect, but now we have another big UFC card coming up. Finally, another one, pay-per-view style. Which, by the way, if you want to pay the $75, good luck. If not, stream it and get in trouble, or at least attempt to get in trouble. And you're really going against the grain there. And I hope Joe Rogan's on the call. We're not going to talk about Joe Rogan today, are we? No, we're not. Shout out to Joe Rogan. Hopefully he gets through this tough time because I know he's hurting in the pocket. You know what I mean? Like I know he's definitely hurting deep down inside because of everything that's going on with him right now.
There's some craziness happening.
Miss me with all of that. But anyway,
we'll see how it all plays out. I have a feeling that at the end of the day, Rogan is going to be the guy that gets axed by Spotify.
Really?
I think it's going to be a big payout.
And guess what? Apple's going to swoop right in there and say, like,
I don't know that Apple
take
will,
'em.
but someone definitely will. There's too much content to be consumed by Rogan, but we'll.
You ever actually listen? I mean, obviously you listen to the Joe Rogan podcast, but like, they're like 4 hours long each episode. And there's like 50 advertisements in the beginning. Like, Jesus Christ. Like, the guy has got so many sponsors out the ass. Joe, share the wealth, bro. Since you're going to be canceled and everything like that, tell everybody to come on over to Chop Sports.
We'll take them.
Yeah. You, Gooch, I talked about my weekend for about 40 minutes. You got to witness
I went
to
the rack, or otherwise known as the Jersey Mike's Arena, and watched Rutgers wrestling. Look, man, Rutgers wrestling, the early weights, the first few guys that went out there, they wrestled real good. Had Ohio State up against the ropes. 2 guys were out for Ohio State. Romero, who was the guy that Paz was supposed to wrestle, he didn't even weigh in. So Paz didn't even wrestle the guy that was ranked 6th. But the guy that replaced him is also a national qualifier from last year at that weight. So when we're talking about Ohio State, it's the same with Alabama football. Next man up, they're equally as good, if
they're
not
all
better in some
juggernauts,
cases.
yeah.
But Rutgers dropped a tough one, man. They had it in the bag going into the last 3 matches. All Rutgers really had to do was win 1 match, and then the Paz match, we were favored. We should have definitely won. You know, Paz had a tough situation.
Low score, you
match.
said.
He lost 4-3. Paz was up 3-1 with 30 seconds to go. He was on top. The guy reversed him, and at the last minute, there was like a scramble. Paz locked his hands. Didn't even know that he locked his hands, or he probably knew.
You can't do this,
you
correct?
can't lock your hands around somebody's waist. So what ended up happening was they gave the other kid a penalty point on the reversal. So Paz lost on a penalty point for locking his hands with 20 seconds to go in the match. And I don't even believe after they blew the whistle on a stalemate. After that, they restarted. And I think Paz didn't even realize that it was 4-3 because the scoreboard still said 3-3. So he's thinking like, okay, extra time, first takedown wins. But, you know, the coach is yelling like, Paz, you're down a point. You're down a point. Ended up, he ran out of time.
You say stalemate?
Stalemate.
What is that?
Basically, if there's 2 things. There's stalling is if you're just not pushing any action, you know.
You get penalized for that or just stood up?
I think you get warned, and then the second one is a penalty. I'm not positive on the rules there, but stalemate is basically when you're stuck in a position for about 10, 15 seconds, and neither guy is able to gain any control or advance. And then it's basically like standing it up in MMA.
Okay.
Essentially.
Okay, I was just curious.
Yeah, tough one.
I'm learning as I go.
Bolsack lost right after Paz did in extra time. So if Bolsack wins or Paz wins, we take out Ohio State for the first time ever. It didn't go our way, but look, Rutgers wrestling on the come up. The tournament starts soon. There's only 3 or 4 dual meets left. Dual meet season in college wrestling it's not that important. It's good for seedings and the tournaments, but when it comes down to it, we'll see what goes down in the Big Ten tournament. We'll have a chance to see all these guys again.
Got it.
I will say this though, the freshman for Rutgers, and I'm pissed off that I'm missing the name right now, but he upset the number 4 kid in the country from Ohio State. Had no business winning that match. Yeah.
So what weight class?
Right before Paz, I think it was 160 or 17. No, 2 before Paz, 164.
Wow. All right. Good shit. Good shit. We'll give him his credit, you know, when we probably clip this up and post about it. But congratulations. Listen, Rutgers is on their way. We know this. You know what I mean? Like, the wrestling team is something to not be messed around with right now. They're on the come up, and tournament season is right around the corner. So let's rock and roll. Yeah. Rob is asking when the next match
next one is, I think, tomorrow
at the rack
or Thursday.
At the rack.
They're all the rest of the matches are home.
I think I'm going to try to go to the second to next, like not the next one, but the next one, because I definitely want to get there and I want to see the vibe and how was the energy in the building. Like,
it was great, man.
Yeah.
I mean, to be
you
honest,
had great seats according to that picture.
Yeah, I had really good seats. According to, I mean, up until the last 3 matches, the energy was crazy. And then when Paz lost, it took some wind out of the building, wind out of the sails, we'll call it. But look, man, got to battle back. It's a tough season.
And listen, if anybody's gonna
and training with injuries, and I'm not talking for Paz, but you know,
if anybody's gonna battle back, it's him, and it's Rutgers wrestling. So yesterday, there was a football game played. Apparently, the world is abuzz about the NFL Pro Bowl. Now, this thing is completely broken. Okay, when I say broken, I mean like it's unwatchable. Okay, they're not trying, they're not hitting, they're not doing anything. You know, a lot of people are like, well, you know, it's for the player. I get that. Yeah, I get that. Like,
I'm kind of one of those people.
Fine. But I'm saying, like, we got to change it. So let's fix it, Gooch. How are we fixing the Pro Bowl? Because I have some suggestions, and I know you do.
I don't think that they should turn it into. I actually would like you to go first on this one.
Okay.
Because I know what you're going to say, because we kind of talked in pre, and I saved my counters for the show because I think it'll be good content. So let's go for it.
Okay. So here's what I think. Countering to what Gooch is going to say, I think he's going to change up the game a little bit. I am playing the game as is. All right. I am sticking to my guns. This should be a football game, full contact, everything, right? I understand that a lot of these guys are worried about injury. I understand a lot of guys are worried about their brand. That's where we're at in 2022. That's where we're at. There is no incentive. Apparently, there's an $80,000 purse to win, a $40,000 purse to lose. So regardless, if you lose in the Pro Bowl, you are making the average American salary in 1 day's work. Okay, $40,000 in 1 day's work. So that's great. But obviously, it's not motivating enough for these guys to try, because there was times where I know the AFC won, but I saw Myles Garrett get off the ball a couple times where he was just like, no, stop, get off of me. Like there was nothing to it, no juice. But then when he got a pick off a deflection, that boy took it to the house. You knew he wanted to score, because apparently, every time you score a touchdown in the Pro Bowl, you get to donate a certain amount of money to your charity of choice. Great. I want the game more competitive. If you're going to make us sit here, nobody's making you sit there and watch anything. But if you're craving football like this is how you fix it. This year is the longest NFL season. They've said it because they've hammered that over your head for months, because yes, there's an 18th week, there's a 17th game, there's a extended this, extended that. This is how you fix the Pro Bowl. The incentive is if you win the Pro Bowl, if your AFC or NFC team wins the Pro Bowl, your conference gets the extra home game the following season. So, for instance, this year, the AFC got the extra home game. Next year, the NFC is getting the extra home game. They can actually fix this.
Was that across the board? AFC and NFC all got the extra home game?
Yes, that's how they fixed it logistic-wise, right? So it all made sense. Dallas went to New England. I know that off the top of my head. I don't know where your crossover.
Kansas City.
You went to Kansas City. So, therefore, the AFC hosted those games. Next year, the NFC is already slated to do that, so keep it the way it is. But next year's Pro Bowl, the winner get the extra home game. That's a big incentive to stay home for a week rather than travel, right? Nobody likes to travel.
Well,
I think that's how you fix it right off the rip.
Just for the reason you're saying, I don't think it'll work, because a lot of guys aren't even in their going to be in the same conference next year. So why am I going to show out for the AFC and then potentially sign with an NFC team and then have to play on the road?
Sure, I guess. Yeah, you just ruined everything, but yeah, you ruined my plan. But
and then
sure.
like to play full contact at this point with the like, you got guys in college that are opting out of bowl games that actually matter, and you expect an NFL player to go care about where his team may or may not play.
What if they turn it into like a futures game where it's like the under the radar rookies to play?
Then have a futures game, but also don't make it important. Don't make anything important. You understand?
I just feel like incentive would be the thing. Like,
look, we're talking about injuries, right, in the Pro Bowl, and guys getting hurt and costing themselves big money down the line. What happens if a guy gets hurt in the Pro Bowl and he's potentially a cap casualty going into the next season? Now he's not potentially a cap casualty. He is definitely a cap casualty. You saw the Drew Brees situation where he destroyed his elbow when he was playing for the Chargers still. He ends up almost signing a deal with the Dolphins, doesn't, because he couldn't pass a physical or whatever you want to say the case was. They go with Dante Culpepper. The rest is history. Drew Brees goes to New Orleans. It changes the scope of the game when it comes to those things. You could, every once in a while, you'll have one guy that cares, and then that
Micah Parsons yesterday,
and that might kind of bleed into the rest of the guys. But at the end of the day, you really can't go out there full speed, because even look at Mac Jones' half touchdown run. Did you watch that play?
He was the MVP.
There's nobody even going after him. And that's the reason. The reason
being is because
nobody wants to get hurt. What they should do to fix the Pro Bowl, in my opinion, and I'm stealing this opinion. I don't know who posted it, but I definitely saw this.
Take it as your own.
And I would like to give credit to who it was.
Don't do that.
I'm sure they're a listener or they're definitely in the group. But just change it to a regular flag football game. It doesn't have to be 7-on-7. It doesn't have to be competitive. But let everybody get to play. Have the big lineman running out for passes. Wouldn't you like to see Aaron Donald covering the center that he normally goes against in the season? And in a situation like that with Kirk Cousins throwing the ball, because all the good quarterbacks opt out anyway.
Cousins out there.
Kyle made a point in the chat as well, where it's like, you're trying to incentivize these guys $80,000 to win. Really, it's just 40 grand, because you're getting 40 grand to show. But how much are you risking if you do get hurt? You're saving your big payday.
Then all right, then you know what, dude? Honestly, then you got to nix the whole thing. You got to nix the whole thing. Announce it as if you're a Pro Bowler and don't have a game. They did that in 2020 with the pandemic.
I don't think they need a game.
That's what I'm saying. Nix it.
Just do a little bit more of what you did. Let the guys have fun. It is for the players to go enjoy a weekend. And I have another thing that we could fix about the Pro Bowl. Put it back in Hawaii. There's no reason why we need to have two things happening. One, it was like 38 degrees. The only guy that didn't feel it was Parsons the other night, who took off his shirt running around like a lunatic.
Ripped.
Right? But also, not to go ahead a little bit, but we're going to get into the Alvin Kamara situation. Why are you having this Pro Bowl in Vegas? You have probably one of the major issues facing the NFL right now is off the field issues and putting players in certain cities like Vegas. And it's just like a bad mix for a lot of
imagine
these guys.
being in Vegas for the Pro Bowl. You will definitely run into somebody at the craps table.
Well, you're running into people.
And you're running into fists.
You're
We'll get
also
into that in a second.
all the NFL players that are there. They have a lot of money, right?
Mhm.
And they have no real responsibility other than just showing up to the Pro Bowl. And they were all banged up the night before anyway, as you could see by the display that they put on in the game. But then you have guys like Alvin Kamara who go out there and get arrested. Now, we don't know the details. You could bring up that graphic if you like, right?
Yeah, it's time. I think it's perfect. Our boy Kamara getting in a little bit of trouble, arrested for they're calling it bodily harm, battery type stuff. So it's obviously a big deal. Now, speaking of big deal, I talked to Craig Karsh, the resident Saints fan of Chop Sports. I talked to him, and he thinks that he just was defending himself. Like, how the hell he knows, I have no idea. But there's nothing in the report of saying, like, self-defense or anything like that. He yoked somebody up, man, and he put him in not a body bag, but at least a hospital probably. But, like, you're right. You put yourself in a position to do this sort of thing. And I'm not saying that they're all gangbangers, but I'm saying, like, you got to be careful.
I'm not saying any of them are. But
I'm just saying you got to be careful.
I'm not either. But if I was at a bar,
but if I'm drinking a bunch of booze and I see
there's a potential for things to happen,
and I see Mike McCarthy drinking, I'm gonna want to fight him. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, you gotta be careful. You have to have the right headspace. Like, some of these guys are not, they've been.
Look, I don't know. To me, Alvin Kamara has been pretty much a model citizen as far as I see it.
I mean,
in his NFL career, I haven't seen any issues. Maybe there's something that someone could dig up. Maybe a scoop will find out right now and let us know. But Kamara hasn't had off the field issues. I need to see more. I'm not going to sit here and vilify the guy because he got into a fight. Sounds like to me, like, the loser of the fight got to tell his side of the story, because when you beat the shit out of somebody, you're not waiting for the cops. You get out of there, right? Who knows how it started? Who knows? Maybe the guy liked Alvin Kamara's chain, and Kamara beat the shit out of him and said, "That's mine." Like, things happen all the time. These guys are targets. They got a lot of money that they're wearing. I don't know. I need to see more.
It's not even that
it wasn't a girl, right? He didn't beat up a girl.
It wasn't a girl. No.
Well, because then you could.
That would have been a little bit more extreme in the news. No.
So that's my point. Like, what, he got into a fight with a guy at a bar? Maybe he's dead wrong. But maybe he's dead right. Maybe he's dead right. So. Is there
ever a dead right moment in a fight in a bar? No. So he's not dead right.
Yes, there is.
What if somebody hits you first?
If you're with your girl or something, and then it's like you have no choice. Yeah, you have to defend yourself. Of course, there's dead right.
Yeah, Kyle coming in just sounds like a bar fight, and Rob Bohannon coming in. How is it? Did he make strip club that fast? Beat the dude at 5 p.m. West Coast time yesterday? I don't know. The timeline is also questionable. But look, Kamara's in trouble with the league, because I'm here to tell you that Alvin Kamara should get no less than 6-game suspension. Okay, this goes back to the Zeke thing. No charges, no case, no court, no nothing. Goodell said, "Screw you, Dallas. Screw you, Zeke. You're getting 6 games." So this guy puts his hand on somebody else, beats him to a pulp. You better get something.
Oh, so Vinny's coming in and saying it was actually Saturday night that it took place.
So he beat him up and then went and played?
I don't even know if he played because I didn't watch it, but I'm pretty sure that.
Was he even a Pro Bowler?
Yeah, I don't know. Should we check that?
Why
I would imagine
there?
he was in the Pro Bowl, because the picture that I used for the thumbnail was him in a Pro Bowl jersey.
He's been a Pro Bowler
from
before.
11 hours ago that the picture was posted. So unless they used an old Pro Bowl photo, and I didn't do my research.
I can't listen. There was certain things at the Pro Bowl that I did dig. And speaking of dig, was the dig stuff. I don't know if you watched that or saw highlights of that, but Trayvon was guarding Stephon. That was a matchup that Bills and Cowboys fans wanted for the Super Bowl, right? But of course they play the game before. But they also switched. So Trayvon went and played receiver. Stephon played corner. It's that kind of stuff.
We got Dave on one hand, wants him to take it serious, and the minute the Trayvon Diggs and Stephon Diggs,
you didn't even let me finish my point.
Incest love in the Pro Bowl.
Love in the Pro Bowl. Like, he is just off on his look. All I'm saying, and by the way, your coach, the hottest coach in the league, by the way, was on the sidelines, and he seemed like he was into it. Okay, so where's your shirt? You wearing your shirt today, by the way?
No,
your hottest coach in the league.
It's collared shirt Monday.
Dave, talk about how Stephon is better than his brother. I'm not going to do that because that's not true. A lot of interference in the end zone, no call. But again, those are the parts of the Pro Bowl that you're like, okay, that's cool. But if that's going to be the thing where people are joking around and stuff like that, then don't make them. There's no contact, none, zero, because there was plays being blown dead when you touched them.
How else would you have a
Touch
guy
them.
like Jeff Saturday come into the Pro Bowl and switch teams?
Whoa, that was
you're
so
like,
cool.
You switch teams for a second, and then you would never be able to have that with your way of like the conference gets the home game.
That's the only reason why I'm saying that is that would legitimize the Pro Bowl. That would legitimize the competition.
No, you would see guys still not give a shit, and they'd be like, there's a very small chance that this is going to matter.
Man. First of all, Scoop, Zeke didn't punch his girlfriend. So there you go. So and of course, Dina brings up the comment.
And
like,
also, let's just run this back
Addressed it.
because I'm going to say what I always say whenever you bring up the Zeke situation and being suspended, that the NFL got it wrong with Zeke. And just because they got it wrong with Zeke doesn't mean that they need to keep getting it wrong with everybody else. They messed up. Hopefully they see the error of their ways in this case. And you didn't see Deshaun Watson get suspended. You're not going to see Kamara get suspended just yet.
To give you an idea of how hard Parsons played, and I know Rob was coming in saying Parsons played hard. To give you an idea, during the kneel downs, Parsons tried to swipe the ball away from the center. Like in the snap process, he tried to swipe the ball away to get the ball back for the NFC. He was trying. Seems like the Cowboys were trying. Seems like it's a little too late for that, Dallas. We should have tried a couple weeks ago. How about that? We could have did that, and then we could have been playing in the game next week. Oh, my God. But, yes, fixing the Pro Bowl is definitely something they're going to have to adjust and address or do something. Did you see that? Well, you didn't watch the game. So they tried the assuming possession rule. So whether the team scored AFC or NFC, doesn't matter. Touchdown, right? Instead of a kickoff, they tried a 4th and 15 from the 25. You can get the possession back instead of kicking the ball to the other team. Figure that one out. Like, keep the ball.
No.
Like, what was that? What was that? Winners stay on? Yeah, the winners stay on is the phrase when you win a basketball game and they stay on the court. If you scored, you got to go on your own 25 and try to convert a 4th and 15 play. And if you got it, which was
sounds
never
like the NFL is trying to put their foot in the door on some crazy new rule changes. Right?
They are. That's exactly what they said on the broadcast, which, by the way, you could have solved this entire Pro Bowl by putting me into a Manning cast situation. They could have called the Pro Bowl. That would have been high quality television. If you like the Manning cast, that is. Some people have never watched it, Gooch, or at least never seen anything more than just highlights.
You would have had me watch two corny ass dudes talk about some corny ass game that nobody cares about, and that's going to be good.
It would have been good television. It would have been. I think it would have been a lot better television, but whatever. So that's the Pro Bowl, and that's Kamara, and that's unfortunate for him. We'll see how that plays out. But speaking of Kamara, Saints still don't have their guy. We'll get into that in a little bit. We'll get into the coaching vacancies that are still there. But let's start off with guys that got their guys, starting with the Dolphins, who hired might be the coolest guy in the NFL now at this point. The Dolphins hire Mike McDaniel to be the next head coach. First of all, with this decision, Dallas Cowboy fans also let out a breath of frustration because Kellen Moore was, in fact, a finalist in this coaching search, and now Kellen Moore's back in Dallas.
So how do you feel about this exactly? Because I feel like you're like kind of on the fence.
Kellen Moore?
Yeah.
Coming back to Dallas? The way I feel is this. He clearly went on plenty of interviews, right? He clearly was a finalist here with Miami, but the rest of the teams that picked other people leads me to believe that as a Cowboys guy, that he's not ready. That he's not ready to be a head coach in the NFL. And now, if anything, you have to go out there and reprove your worth because the back end of the Cowboys season was shit offensively. They just couldn't get it going, whether it be Dak hurt or whatever the case you want, whatever excuse you want to use, that's fine. But being that that the offense was piss poor, that hurt Kellen Moore and all these chances.
So now I'm going to ask just like a plain question. Are you happy or are you upset that Kellen Moore is back?
I'm a little upset because of the way the rest of the year played out. And I talked to Tony Catalina and Aiden Davis on the Blogging the Boys podcast network last night. We recorded the podcast. And I said that my biggest thing was that not the play calling in itself, but the usage of your weapons, the usage of your tools. So I compared it to going to work and like you got yourself a tool bag, right? And you're going in, you're about to fix something. And somebody says, give me a screwdriver. Give me the best screwdriver you got. And I'm like, here you go. And I hand you a wrench. It's like, wait, no, this isn't right. Oh, here's a hammer. No. I asked you for a screwdriver. Meaning, what I'm saying is, in that comparison, they had Tony Pollard. They had CeeDee Lamb. They have Amari Cooper. None of these guys were targeted or used the right way in a playoff game. That's what scares me about your offensive coordinator. So now that he's back, he's got a big prove-it deal. But to the main story here, McDaniel. I followed this guy very loosely. I didn't even hear of him until the Mike Jones interview where he said,
Mike
who? You know,
Mike Jones.
And he was cool. I was like, wow, dude, I hope this guy gets hired everywhere.
Is weed legal in Florida?
I think it's
Looks like
legal in 50 states at this point. No,
No, I think it's 37 actually. But it's,
wow,
I'm
who
not
the
sure
hell's
if
behind the ball
Florida-
there?
Maybe Florida, honestly. But if it's
They didn't
not,
think there was a pandemic.
if
I
it's
think there are
not
a lot
legal,
of
he's
weed.
gonna have to get his Kuma card. He's gonna have to get that medical card because this dude seems like he smokes a lot, a lot.
And you can.
I was gonna actually make 2 graphics and make one of this picture blown up because you could see he's stoned. There's no doubt about it.
I mean, look at that. Look at that picture of this guy. This guy is a G. And I think that he's going to be a good voice, which also, I mean,
Did you see that the NFL is trying to pass this off as like a person of color hire?
what now?
Wait, what's going on here?
What is happening? I looked at him multiple times. There was a tweet that went out. I won't say who sent it, but it was a meme that compared, if you've ever seen the movie Benchwarmers, they tried to get this guy to play on a little league team. And he said, I am 12. And he's like, well, he's got documentation. And literally it's just a picture and it says, I am 12 in crayon. You know what I mean? So like this guy's identifying as multiracial. Is that a thing?
Now, when you say identifying, like, is that what he is, or is he just identifying as
That's
that?
what I'm saying. This world is so upside down. You don't even know how to even.
He seems like a dude, so I don't think he'd ever say I identify as anything. He's just like probably
He's
has like
actually something.
Yeah, his father's probably black and his mom is white, or vice versa. And
Or it could be
that's
anything.
what it is. Yeah.
It could be any kind of race. But if that's the case, Gooch, if that's the case, the 49ers getting 2 third-round picks as compensation. Part of the new rule. If you hire anybody of color, you get compensated.
Wait, the 49ers or the Dolphins?
No, the 49ers for letting them get picked off.
Oh,
They're getting compensation for losing this guy because he's a person of color, apparently. Like, I can't figure it out. Like, I'm not going to go on, like, what's that stupid thing, the 23andMe or whatever, how you figure out your past. Like, I'm not going to go digging up that because I don't care enough. But, like, that's a thing. And this is a thing.
I mean, it's strange, but he's still a cool dude. We'll see how it works out as a head coach. He seems like a great coach because he seems like a cool dude, but I don't know. We'll see how.
According to Kyle, he said, I identify as multiracial. That's what he said. So as dude as he is, he said something kind of cringeworthy. He said, Kyle said, forget legalizing weed, make sports betting available in all 50 states. I wholeheartedly agree there. At this point, just do it. Allegedly has a black father. That being said, I searched every service of the internet. No photo proof of this. So maybe it's just, look, if these guys are starting to beat the system that way, if this is his good departing gift to the 49ers saying, hey guys, I'm leaving, but don't worry, I'll get you guys 2 third-round picks as compensation for me leaving town. That would be utterly criminal. Third-round picks. If there were 7s, I'd say I don't give a shit. But this is, now you get the third round's over. Whoa, wait. No, the 49ers got 2 more picks because they lost a multiracial coach. Are you kidding? You can't. Oh, boy, he better prove this shit. That's all I'm saying. Or they even asking for proof with all the shit going down right now in the NFL? They even ask him for proof? He's identifying. Like,
I mean,
what are we supposed to say to that? No, you're not. Yeah, he is.
I guess. Why would he want to give his old team any extra? I mean, I guess his boys with Shanahan,
Right.
but
That's I'm saying. He's boys.
I can't
with the
imagine that
upper
being the
office.
thing here. It's like you get your biggest moment of your life and you're going to lie about what race you are.
Vinny's right. All of a sudden next year there's going to be 30 ethnic coaches. And when we say ethnic, they're just going to say anything.
As we get into that, I guess we could pull up the other 2 right now, right? The other 2 coaching vacancies that are basically left in the NFL.
Yeah, and that's only 2 teams left. And that would
Are
be
Well, there's
Skipping the
3, but
other one?
we kind of have word. Sources have said
that the Vikings have their guy. They're just waiting for the Super Bowl to be over. So and that's another McDaniel. What's his name? What was the Vikings?
Kevin
guy?
O'Connell.
O'Connell. Like with all these nulls. McDaniel, O'Connell. I'm getting
Those
confused
sound
now.
like Irish names.
Irish. All right. But yeah, so 2 more vacancies left. Now there's a little bit of shit going on in both of these situations because of the Flores thing. And like this is stemming now. And of course you got to tread lightly when you talk about this kind of stuff because you don't want to sound disingenuous or you don't want to sound like you're a jerk off and you're not like, you're not tone deaf of what's going on right now. Obviously everybody knows Flores has a lawsuit against the NFL based off of the coaching searches and all this shit, right? I went to my source, which is Craig Karsh, who's knee deep in Saints media. He's always finding, like, he's told me things that happen before they happen. So he's obviously has some good follows on Twitter where he, dives deep. There is 4 finalists right now for the New Orleans Saints. Eric Bieniemy, our boy Eric, who we've been talking about for 2 years now, at least we have, Gooch, of coaching searches of where this guy should go because he deserves a head coaching job. He's also from New Orleans, which I found out today. Hometown boy, home cooking. Aaron Glenn, former cornerback of the New York Football Jets.
I think he played for the Saints too. No?
He played everywhere. Aaron Glenn is a journeyman, and he is up for the coaching job as well. Then there's Dennis Allen, their defensive coordinator, who has specifically figured out Dak Prescott. So he's figured out a lot of quarterbacks in the NFL. He's a great defensive coordinator. He's up for the job. And, of course, there's Brian Flores. Now, I told Craig, I said, there is no way at this point right now that Flores gets hired.
I disagree. I don't know that
he's
he's
really,
definitely.
the Saints are just going to go against the league? Because that's what they've been doing.
I wouldn't say there's no way. And I think in some ways that Flores getting hired would actually help the league.
Stephen Hairston coming and saying Flores would be a good fit in New Orleans. And I think so too.
Now to say that it would,
I wholeheartedly think so.
Them going against the league, I think what Flores getting hired by the Saints would do is like kind of prove that Flores's claims aren't true. He's like, no, you just got a job, dude. So how could you even say that? Like, you've gotten 2 head coaching jobs in the NFL. Now, there's a lot of stuff that goes into the Dolphins thing as to why he left. That's another story altogether.
Right.
But out of the 4 finalists for the Saints head coaching job, 3 of them are black. If they don't give it to a black guy, it's going to be a rough situation in New Orleans. They're almost
and Houston.
Houston,
we have a problem because now, as we're talking about this, and I don't mean to cut you off, but before you get into that conversation, people have been talking about Josh McCown for a couple weeks now. People are like, he's got no experience. How is this possible? He's about to get a job in the NFL as a head coach, right? All of a sudden, reports are saying Lovie Smith has jumped into the front runner position. I wonder why Lovie Smith has jumped into the conversation.
But I also hear Flores has jumped into that conversation.
Come on now.
Well, maybe the NFL owners are getting the memo.
Good. If this has to be, listen, this is good. This is all good news.
I don't want to make it seem like here's the part that I have an issue with is to say, I wonder why. That itself is the reason why we're here to begin with. By saying, I wonder why he's in this position. Well, that's discounting the fact that Lovie Smith deserves to be in that position. He clearly does, right?
He's out there, first of all, phenomenal white beard.
There's some guys out there that just because he's the front runner in this position. Well, how about this? Maybe Josh McCown never deserved to be in the position to begin with.
I don't think so either.
And Lovie Smith should have always been the front runner. And that's the way I look at that situation. Like, who did Josh McCown coach? What successes he had as an NFL head coach? None. Lovie Smith, he took the Bears to the Super Bowl. Correct me if I'm wrong, right?
Yeah.
They lost, but he took the Bears to the Super Bowl. So Lovie Smith has had success in the league. Look, I still think it's Flores is going to get one of those 2 jobs. I really do.
Now, I got to ask, if Flores gets this job, does he drop the lawsuit?
No.
Does he lose automatically?
No.
How the frick does he win? He's gotten 2 head coaching jobs in 3 years.
I don't know that it's winnable.
Where's the
anyway,
merit?
Because
I don't like to use the word merit, but
there's going to be there's going to be in litigation for a while, I think. But at the end of the day, I don't think that we know the facts, and what he's suing isn't based on his potential getting a future head coaching job. It's about past situations that have happened, that he has supposed documentation, and it's really about changing the system, I think, on his side, more so than making the money.
I don't know, man. I mean, Sam Grass coming in saying he wasn't successful with the Bucs. That's true too. So look, a lot of these coaches have had good times and bad. Don't get me wrong. But the fact that he's all of a sudden the front runner out of nowhere because of what's going on, the temperature of the league is basically now saying they're putting their foot on the throat of some of these owners, saying, "You better do this. Don't you mess this up again, because we're going to have a whole shitstorm if you decide to hire an inexperienced, Josh McCown over a Lovie Smith or over an Eric Bieniemy or over a Brian Flores." That's where we're at now.
I don't think that the league will openly go out and say that, especially with all the way that email scandals have been going down. And how are they going to even convey that message to anybody at this point?
Scoops coming in. Here's something. So Kyler Murray removed all Cardinals association with his social media. Stopped following the Cardinals. Changed his profile picture back to Oklahoma. What is that?
I would imagine that.
Is he just taking a stand against the league?
I would say he's either maybe that, but why would he take a stand against his team and not the league itself? I would imagine that you'd come out and say something publicly. Usually when there's something cryptic going on with the organization, it's to send a message to the organization, not the league. Maybe he doesn't like the head coach. Maybe, boo-hoo Kyler at the end. just didn't like how he was portrayed, and maybe there was some things said by the media to the media by his front office. I don't know. I got to look a little more into that, but he's definitely not in a position with the way he played down the stretch to be, removing himself from anything. Maybe they should remove him.
I don't know. A lot of side hustle going on right now. Kyle's talking bets tonight. I guess the Hornets play the Raptors here, and we have our Canadian representation taking the Raptors. So anyway, look, Rob Bohannon brings this up. If no black guy gets hired, there's a problem. It's about a coach trying to win, who players are going to want to play with, and no black, white, green, blue. Can you win? Can you coach? Now, I had a conversation with somebody over the weekend, Gooch. Now, I don't know how to word this without sounding like not a complete fool, but something to that extent. White head coaches, right? They're in the league. They're prominent. They're 31 teams deep, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that coming out of college, a lot of these athletes that go to the NFL, they're athletes, man. Predominantly, if you look at the NFL, it's black. There's a lot of black players. I think it's 70% because they're athletic and they're amazing and skilled and doing their thing, right? Do you think that they're just not built for coaching? A lot of these guys go into coaching after their careers are done, right? But like some of them just stop playing and they just not associate with themselves.
No, because
is it more like a
no?
I'm trying to word this in a way.
Look how many assistant coaches are black. There's a lot.
It's
not like there's like
position
a shortage
coaches and stuff.
There's not a shortage of position coaches in the league that are black.
Yeah.
There's a shortage of NFL head coaches in prominent positions or NFL really executives across the board. That's the problem. It's not necessarily so there is
like the desire to coach.
And no, it's not fair to say that they aren't built like that. That's crazy to say, actually. Not you. I'm not saying you said it. I'm saying maybe you're just raising the question.
Right.
But I don't agree with that whatsoever. It's like the same.
I want to know aspirations. There's like a lot of these old heads are out there, like your Bruce Arians of the world,
and it's also
aren't athletes.
It's also situational. It's like to generally speak about former black players not being built to coach. No, it's just not. It can't be the case. It's been proven that they can coach.
I agree. Obviously. I agree. I'm not saying. I'm just trying to figure this out.
Yeah,
bro.
no.
It's like trying to split the atom and like figure out science. Like, why aren't there just more dominant black head coaches out there? I'm trying to wrap my head around
opportunity. I guess.
I guess. Yeah. But I mean, like that. This is something.
I guess we'll find out all these things as the next couple months unfold with the Flores situation. I expect an interesting offseason with that whole thing.
Kyler and Jimmy G trade would be interesting. Well,
that's not going to happen.
I mean, are you sure? We've seen crazier things.
Yes.
Okay. That would change up the entire Arizona Cardinals offense and would change up. Well, the 49ers are looking for that guy because they already went with Trey Lance and he's an athletic quarterback who can run.
But the 49ers aren't looking to trade Jimmy G for a quarterback because they have Trey Lance. So
yeah,
why would they really, that doesn't make sense. They picked Trey Lance third last year. They traded a lot to get him. Right?
Yeah.
They gave up a lot of picks. And Jimmy G is probably making more money than Kyler Murray right now. So you're going to trade that contract for another one. And a guy that, hasn't had much success. Granted, he's had success early in seasons, but he can't hold up. I think that's what we're seeing.
Yeah, we'll see in that. But I mean, it'll be interesting. This coaching search is getting tight now. There's only 2 spots left, technically. 3 are technically available, but 2 seem to be the promising landing spots. The Texans have changed their tune. Would not be surprised if that move is made relatively quick. The Saints might do a little bit more of an extensive process. Now they got to deal with a little bit, maybe more of an Alvin Kamara situation. That could be a thing that you're now going into. Right, that's your first. By the way, your first order of business, you got to take care of Alvin Kamara.
I don't think that Kamara is going to be. I think you'll see him week 1 no matter what. The guy in the Chiefs. I think it was Frank Clark that got caught shooting his gun. He got caught with a gun. It was like a week before the season started, and he didn't get a single thing happen to him.
Wow. Yeah. We had a whole segment on that on the show. That's right. The NFC West, according to Vinny, the NFC West seems to be doing well. The Niners want to ship out Jimmy G. Kyler throwing a hissy fit. Russ wants out. Man, Stafford's about to win like 3 Super Bowls in a row. He's going to at least win the West a couple times in a row. But it'll be interesting. It is Super Bowl week after all, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to get more into that. If you want to get into the Super Bowl pool, I mean, there's only 6 spots left. So hit us up on Facebook. Well, we do have the most updated picture. But yeah, man, Super Bowl week, media week. We're going to get our hands, hopefully, on some guys that want to come on and talk shop as far as the Rams and the Bengals. It's a very big week for the NFL, media week, Radio Row. That's all back. Last year was kind of on hiatus because of COVID. This year, COVID's been forgotten about from the NFL completely, which, by the way, if you haven't noticed that, you're living under a rock. But tomorrow we want to get a little bit more knee deep in some baseball free agency talks, because there's been something that
the
happened.
Yankees are in on the Freddie Freeman sweepstakes, which I don't know when they're going to start, but
right.
Saw a lot of bullshit about typical Yankee fan, typical big market team going after a position that we don't typically need. We don't really need first base because we could get a guy to go over there. We don't need to spend that
Freddie
money.
Freeman?
Here's my point. We need a lefty bat, and that's what's more concerning to me. I need that lefty bat. I would take Rizzo back, but I'll take Freeman over him. I just don't know that the price tag is going to add up. Good thing it's not my money. I really don't care. Freddie Freeman, come on down, baby. Right? But really, Freddie Freeman can't pitch, so I would imagine that's still going to be an issue for the Yankees, and that's where I'd like to see them spend some money. But that's really, I just have a hard time giving out big, huge contracts to pitchers right now.
You made
doesn't work out.
You made an absolutely crazy point the other day. Not crazy point, but when is the Sauce returning to the show and give out his bets? Am I being blackballed by your new producer? No, Sauce, you were well invited last week, and you decided I got the sniffles and I don't feel good. I can't come. I can't make it. Well, you're welcome to come anytime, bro.
So
anytime.
Kyle,
There's a door right there, and it's open for the Sauce.
We're gonna have that meeting on Tuesday. So
yes.
tomorrow. So
tomorrow,
let's
let's
either
meet.
jump on
let's
Zoom, or you want
to
to come by. We're gonna figure out how we'll work out Friday.
Yes, but we do want to dive in. Before we go, I wanted to dive into your crazy point that, let's just say, it's not going to happen this way, but let's just say tomorrow, the union and the players reps and everybody comes together and they're like, you know what? This is what we're going to do. Bink, 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 bink. We're back, right? How many guys have no home to go to?
Yeah.
There's a lot. We're
lot.
going to dive into it tomorrow. We're going to rank our free
I also
agents.
think that there's been a lot of backdoor deals that
have
happened, and you're going to see a
be.
flood of trades, and like winter meetings took place. All these things happen. They just can't release anything yet. But at the end of the day, we haven't heard any rumblings, and I know that it's hard to keep certain things like that under wraps. Guys talk, and people have sources. So we haven't heard anything. So maybe they really are sticking to it, and they're not actually doing these backdoor deals like I thought they should be.
Vinny coming in. Oh, you mean we can't roll out 9 righties out there every day?
No, it's not going to work then.
Is that not the system? Oh man, it's been too long.
And Jordan Montgomery will be able to pitch like once every 6 weeks, and then he'll be hurt again. So we'll get a lefty once in a while. But yeah, we need some help with the rotation. Look, baseball season will be here sooner than later, regardless of how long the lockout
They are
takes.
bringing in not an arbitrator,
an arbitrator, litigator, whatever. Mediator.
Mediator. That's what. That's the word we're going.
I want to know where was this guy 2 months ago?
Well, because this is like your last resort. Like, if you think you guys can just hammer out a deal, then do it. But if you can't, we need somebody to at least say, okay, what you're saying is complete garbage, and what you're saying is complete garbage. Here's the garbage point in the middle.
The garbage point is that the lockout started a month and a half ago, right? And they've only met twice in that month and a half, and now we're in the final hour, and they have only met 3 or 4 times now. That's unacceptable to me. The mediator should have been there
to the fans. Yes,
I mean to anybody. The players got money out there. Yes, they do.
The commissioner sure shit don't.
I mean, Major League Baseball cares as well. It's just that Major League Baseball is willing to play the long game the way, the Chinese government plays the long game.
Yikes.
Major League Baseball is trying to win for the next 100 years against the players. They're not necessarily trying to win this agreement. They're setting themselves up for the future. The players are in a little bit different scenario because they have a shelf life on their career. So they have no leverage in that sense. Like, the players have to get back to baseball. Otherwise they lose valuable money. They lose their contracts. They lose their prime.
Right.
The owners, in 3 years, this strike is going to be over with. The
new agreement is going to be a 10-year agreement or something like that. You would assume.
Yeah. But
that's usually what they do.
But you understand what I'm saying. Like, they should have had this mediator way back when to get this stuff fixed, because
Matt Ibanez,
baseball season should be started next week.
Coming in, host of Till Mets Do Us Part. Mediation is bullshit. It only helps. The MLB wanted to negotiate, which they don't. So MLB is trying not to budge. The players are like, we're willing to, but nah.
And like, who's the person releasing? Which side is being like, you know what? Let's put out news that we're getting media. Like, it's all bullshit. It's all fluff when it comes to the media and what you hear about what's happening here, because there's an agenda, and that's to support the owners in the league.
Yeah. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching this video, please do us a favor. Like the video. Also subscribe. I didn't say that enough today. I actually kind of forgot about it, maybe because I'm not reminded in the chat. And I'm looking right at Ashmere Fit for not being on board with that. I need somebody to hammer down the likes. And here she comes now. She's going to probably get in the chat right now as we're closing. But listen, like the video, support Chop Sports. We're going to get, she literally comments from from 4 feet from me. But anyway, like it. Yes. Like the video, please. You're helping out Chop Sports by doing so. Also, if you want to be a Patreon member, which by the way, I was talking to my dad yesterday, and he, Gooch will find this funny. I said, hey, I told him about the desk and how my uncle's building it and blah, 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 blah. I was like, you got to see the studio. We did a lot of things. Come on back down. He goes, well, I'm a $10 Dynasty member. I can come to the studio whenever I want. I was like, this is true. You do get the perks. And my stepmom was like, yeah, your father's the type of guy that when he's paying for something, he's going to get the perks, whether you like it or not. He goes, where's my gift card? I said, Dad, just tell me. We'll get you the gift card.
I'm pretty sure there is one made for him.
He wants a hat. He wants a Chop Sports hat. So I was like, just get on board. Chopsports.shop if you want to support the brand and wear the brand. Shout out to whoever the street team is. More than likely Joey D, who is dropping off our flyers.
I got stopped a few times about the Paz shirt yesterday.
Okay. The Paz shirt. I did write down an idea for his newest shirt. I wrote it down while we were talking about it because bing, light bulb went off, and I said this could be cool. But if you want to be a Patreon member and support Chop Sports, please do so by going to patreon.com/Chop Sports. Also, Sauce, funny you say that. You're also a Dynasty member, so come on down to the studio whenever you want. That's part of the perks. You get to hang out with us all day. There are people on Twitter, however, and I'm not hesitant, but I mean, I sort of am because I don't know these people. But like, I'm just like, I sometimes I put in a caption, come on down and like join the fun. And a lot of these guys are taking it literally like, yo, what's the address? I want to come down. I'm like, hold on.
Well, look, look.
I would love this whole place to be full of sports fans. Trust me.
When you say you opened up like batting cages, you can't be like, oh, I don't know these guys. I don't know if I should let them come hit baseballs here.
Batting cages,
but
we're an
understanding
office.
the point, it's like we're an office, it's a business, and we're offering things as perks for the show. If somebody joins the Patreon, then that's part of it.
That's part of what our business. So if you're watching this and you want to come down to the office and hang out with us and talk shorts, and
if you
talk
act
sports,
up, I will beat.
Shorts too.
I'll just beat the shit out of them.
Yeah, there you go.
Right?
And if you're not welcome,
bro,
Gooch will beat the shit out of you. So there you go. So in any event, be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Join us on Facebook. Join the conversation.
Also,
what else
we forgot to mention this, and you don't have to pull up the graphic, but did you see that the Packers are in talks with Rich BISACCIA?
Yeah, BISACCIA is going over there.
Bro. The Packers.
That's great. He's a great coach.
So Rodgers has never had any help. We all know this, right? They years with no defense. I'm joking. I'm making a point. And like finally, like they got him a defense. They got him. He's got Devontae. He's got his good receivers. The running game is great. Finally happy with the head coach. And like, what's missing? It's like, well, they've never given Aaron Rodgers good special teams. That's all he needs is a good special teams. He's got all the other things now. He's got the contract. He's got to bring Devontae back one more year. They even gave him Randall Cobb.
I know.
It's like
third and Cobb.
All Aaron Rodgers needs at this point is a special teams. If he had a special teams, he would have so many rings by now.
Oh, by now, yeah.
By now, he would have 3 or 4 rings.
Also, be on the lookout because our intern is all of a sudden a graphic genius. There is a shirt coming out potentially soon, dropping very soon. Packers related. I did throw him a Cowboys idea. I also threw him another idea as well. So all of a sudden, we got our multifaceted intern who was kicking ass. So shout out to Anthony right now, who's probably watching this. We'll see you back here on Wednesday. But as far as this show, it has gone on for far too long. We're going to call it a day. We're going to get back to business. For Sturch, Gooch, Dina, Ash, everybody in the house right now. We'll see you guys tomorrow. We'll talk some baseball. I know it's Super Bowl week, but let's talk some baseball after all. Get us hyped for the season.
Have you watched any Olympics yet?
I have not watched. Well, actually, that's not true. I watched that thing where they come down the thing and then they just catapult themselves off.
Ski jump?
Sure. Is that what it's called?
I watched uphill skiing the other day.
I'm sorry.
I don't know the name of the sport, but they were
Jimmy
definitely...
Palumbo just send you a video of him trying to get up the hill?
That's actually very funny. No, Jimmy Palumbo sent me pictures of like cheeseburgers all weekend. But it's uphill skiing.
Just take you over on
all I know is I saw a bunch of guys on skis and they were going uphill. And I was like, what the fuck is that? That seems counterproductive. So
that's a sport?
Cross country, maybe?
By the way, shout out to the USA. I think you're last in medals right now. Which, by the way, shouldn't even be there.
The skiathlon. Don't start. That's not a thing.
I feel like that's
curling has been riveting, according to Sam Grasso. What was that, Dean?
I said I feel like that's the wrong footwear for going up.
Right. Like, how do you do that? Like, it's gravity. Like, you just fall down. Like,
How do you decide that that's the sport you want to pursue?
How do you decide that you want to friggin' lunge yourself off a thing and just fly in the air?
At least that looks amazingly fun.
Dude, my ACL tore every time they landed. I'm like, you just tore everything in your foot. and your knee and your quad and everything and your hammy and all sorts of leg injuries that you could possibly suffer.
Only nobody got hurt at all.
I know.
Like, they were just good.
It's crazy. I see that. I haven't found out if the Jamaican bobsled team has done anything good yet, but I do want to feel the rhythm, feel the rhyme, and see how they're doing. But did you see the picture of the slope in front of the nuclear power plants?
The skiers have to wear a mask.
Oh yeah, Scoop.
Oh my God. If you need somebody to talk my Olympics, I'll talk. Yeah, Scoop. And I believe we still have Steve on standby who might be out there in Beijing right now. So there's so much to talk about. Cross country skiing is the worst, according to Vinny. That might be the uphill skiing, cross country skiing.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
No, that's fine.
Yeah, you're all good. You're all good. All right. In any event, I know Rob's serious, but like I laugh because it's comical at this point. Like, yeah, let's go to the same place that everybody just sucks. Everybody's terrible.
They're currently building the bomb that they plan to drop on the eastern seaboard right here at that plant.
And I hope if they do it, I want the Olympic like and it's just coming up and the Olympic theme song's playing the whole time. Oh, that's enough. I'm out. We're out. See you guys tomorrow.
Phew.